We're going to explore exactly how nurses can leverage their existing RN license to make that leap from a standard W-2 employee to a 1099 business owner. Drawing from a detailed breakdown by nurses to riches, we'll look at specific models generating anywhere from $500 to over $5,000 a month in side income.
So, okay, let's just dive right into this. How is it, and this is wild when you really think about it, that nurses are working 36, maybe even 48 hours a week and still living paycheck to paycheck? It's a deeply frustrating reality for so many. We go to school, we get our degrees, and we learn these incredible clinical skills, but the system completely misses teaching us how to monetize those skills outside of the standard hospital setting.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the nursing paycheck trap, then move into teaching CPR and ACLS, selling digital nursing guides, remote chart audits, mobile labs and content creation, and finally, wrap it up with the massive underlying benefit, the business tax advantage. Let's get to it.
All right, starting with Section 1, the paycheck trap. Let's talk about escaping the hospital.
So, the core problem highlighted in our source material is that, well, nursing school provides an amazing foundation for bedside care, right? But it leaves nurses completely in the dark about business. You're taught how to follow procedures, but definitely not how to put your RN license to work for you. The models we're analyzing today, they're generating anywhere from $500 to $5,000 a month. And I really want to emphasize this. These are not get-rich-quick schemes. No way. These are legitimate, operational businesses that real nurses are running right now, literally from their couch, their car, or just between regular shifts.
Moving right along to Section 2, teaching CPR and ACLS. Time to monetize those certifications.
Think about the last time you renewed your BLS. You probably paid, around $90 just to sit in a room watching a PowerPoint. Well, as a nurse, you already hold these certifications, so there is literally no reason you can't be the one running that legitimate business. And the barriers to entry here, they're remarkably low. First up, you get certified as an instructor through the AHA or Red Cross. Second, you just buy a starter mannequin and AED trainer bundle. That'll run you about $500 to $700. And finally, you set up a simple scheduling tool like Calendly to book in-home private sessions or even pop-up events. It's this super low-cost, high-margin setup where you can easily charge $60 to $150 per person.
But what's really highly compelling about this model is the immense scalability. I mean, you don't have to stay a solo instructor forever. The AHA actually offers an advanced pathway. Over a 5 to 10-year period, if you build a team of 5 or more instructors and certify at least 250 students a year, which, to put that into perspective, is just 5 students a week, you can become an official training center. You completely transition from a side gig into a full-blown business, issuing cards directly, supplying hospitals, and even fire departments. It's a total game changer.
All right, Section 3, digital nursing guides, selling digital PDFs.
Now, this shifts us right into the digital product space. You know, when people hear about selling on Etsy, they usually think of, handmade crafts, right? But the source details a real-world example of a nurse generating a staggering $80,000 a month selling printable nursing study guides. Yeah, you heard that right. The core philosophy here is to literally package your brain into a digital product and get paid while you sleep. As a nurse, you're already organizing care plans, you're explaining complex disease processes every single day. By using simple platforms like Canva to design study guides or cheat sheets, and then selling them on Etsy or Gumroad, you're turning your everyday clinical knowledge into a highly scalable asset.
Next up is Section 4, remote chart audits, doing insurance reviews right from home.
Now this is an incredibly under-the-radar revenue stream. Insurance companies and third-party review firms desperately need licensed nurses to look over medical records. They need you to determine if treatments were appropriate and if a case actually qualifies for reimbursement. And this brilliantly illustrates how you can utilize your existing license without risking bedside burnout. Chart audits just work perfectly because the role is 100% remote and applies to literally any specialty, requires zero extra certification, and relies entirely on the daily clinical reasoning you already practice. It's brilliant.
Moving into Section 5, mobile labs and content. Let's talk about scaling up your hustle.
So these next two represent some of the most highly scalable models we've discussed. Let's start with the mobile lab testing business, which tackles a massive demand for in-home lab services, especially for disabled or elderly patients. And the operational roadmap here? It's fascinating. One healthcare tech started by just pitching local clinics to handle their lab draws for a bit less than the big-name companies. He actually had his legal contracts drafted on Fiverr for just $10 to $20. As the business snowballed, he partnered with a collaborating physician, expanded into genetic testing and wound care, and eventually ended up employing RNs and NPs to run a full-blown healthcare operation. Talk about scaling up.
Content creation offers another massive avenue for scalability. Just look at this actual progression from the Source's YouTube channel. In 2021, they made $93 a month. By 2022, it was up to $926. In 2023, nearly $3,000. And by 2024, they doubled it to over $6,000 a month. This perfectly proves the compounding value of evergreen content. By simply sharing authentic knowledge, things like NCLEX tips or ICU advice that stays relevant for years, you build an audience that generates income long after the video is actually posted.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 6, the business tax advantage. It's all about keeping your money.
So underneath all of these side hustles lies this massive financial benefit. Earning the extra money is great, absolutely, but keeping it through smart tax strategy, that is where the real wealth is built. When you look at the comparison, the difference is just stark. Standard W-2 employee deductions are, frankly, severely limited. But the moment you start generating revenue from a CPR class, a digital download, or a mobile app, suddenly the IRS views you as a 1099 small business owner. This shifts you into a completely different tax bracket capability and unlocks some immense leverage.
Let's look at some specific, real-world examples of how routine expenses legally reduce your taxable income. Those CPR mannequins and AEDs we talked about? Tax deductible. The gas mileage driving to a client's home for a lab draw? Deductible. Your Canva Pro subscription, your Calendly booking software, the cameras you buy for content creation, and even those Fiverr freelancers you hire to draft contracts or design study guides, all deductible. Even a portion of your rent and internet for your home office qualifies. It's like a giant puzzle where all the pieces actually work in your favor.
We've seen exactly how scalable these models are and how your existing RN license already qualifies you to execute on them right now. The structure is there, the demand is absolutely there, and the tax advantages are just waiting to be claimed. So the only real question remaining is, will you let belief be the only thing standing in your way? Your knowledge is far more powerful than you think. It's time to put it to work.